Welcome to another episode of Family Life with Mama Rita. I hope your week was good and you had a restful week and you are taking good care of yourselves. Please, if you are still doubting COVID-19, I want you to know that it is real. Yesterday, I'm sorry I didn't ask your permission, but yesterday I had a lady calling me, crying. I said, what is it? Mama Rita, I think I have coronavirus. I said, it's like malaria now. And when she was talking to me, I realized she couldn't even breathe. You would think she's had an asthmatic attack. I said, where are you? She said, I'm at home. I said, run home now. Get some hot water, boiling water. Add salt, adango, the huge ones, the anointed ones. Add it into the water. Cover yourself with the blankets. And then inhale. I said, you have vitamin C? She said, my vitamin C is finished. My darling, stop buying earrings. Stop buying shoes. Stop buying clothes. Invest in vitamin C. Invest in D. Invest in zinc. Please. And then the concoctions. Ginger, lemon, garlic. Please. At least she made me happy today. She called me this afternoon and said, Mommy, I'm feeling better. Please, until COVID-19 is over, until coronavirus is pushed into the sea, please take good care of yourselves. I am pleading with you. And when we talk, listen, make notes. Don't wait until it's too late before you call me. Now I don't know, Pastor Chief Apple, give me a name. There's doctor here, please. I haven't been to the medical school, so get something to tell me. Senior concoction specialist, I like that one. So you are welcome to another edition of Family Life with Mama Rita. Last week we had Minister and Mrs. Fabio Wilson. Shall we give them a shout? They were something else last week. I never knew Mrs. Fabio Wilson was such a good talker. She could speak that well. Thank you so much for coming on my show. We looked at celebrations in relationships, celebrations during courtship, celebration in marriage. We looked at birthdays, we looked at wedding anniversaries, we looked at Christmas, we looked at Valentine's, and we looked at other celebrations, even graduations. We concluded by saying celebrations in relationships are necessary and important. Number one, it makes you remember where God picked you from and how far He's brought you. Number two, the celebrations are an opportunity or avenue of thanksgiving to God. It is an opportunity to come to the altar with your spouse and to say thank you. It makes your spouse also feel special and to know that they are not an object you are only using for sex, for cooking, for other things, but she's a true friend and also a partner. We said you can celebrate by asking a pastor to pray for your partner on her birthday. You can request a song on Powerline TV or on any of the radio stations. You can write a love note. The last time your wife or your husband had a love note from you, was your second year in relationship when you were courting. Since she said yes, there has been no note. Please, don't be a typical African. Show a bit of love in the relationship. I was handling somebody 2 weeks ago, a couple actually. The lady said, Mama Rita, my husband has never wished me a happy birthday. As a bushman, a fool. So please, you can ask a pastor to pray. You can pray, ask for a song. You can give her a love note or him a love note. You can go out for lunch or dinner. And when we say lunch or dinner, there are so many places. Although Rice is there. That place. Champion is there. It's Champion that sponsors me. Champion is there. If you can't go to the big restaurants, please. Champion is there. The Yokogari at your junction is there. Tuosafi is there. The Wache woman by the Lotto kiosk is also there. Please. Do something before you die. A special meal can be cooked either by the man or by the lady at home, just for the family alone. It's also a special, yesterday was my granddaughter's birthday. She was 2. Please give her a shout. If it's paining you, go and look for your own grand. And they sent us pictures. They didn't invite us. But they sent us pictures. I saw the birthday cake. I saw biscuits and drinks and sweets and all that on the dining table. And it was just them. I realized Pastor Papa has taken us out of the show, but it was fine. You can also do that. Just you, your wife, and your kids are fine enough to celebrate daddy's birthday or mommy's birthday. A surprise can also be made, but listen carefully. If you want to surprise, you must be an expert to make that attempt. If you want to do a surprise, come for coaching from me. Everybody knows it. I am the prophetess of surprises. All you do is to sow towards city of Shiloh. And now, as on my surprises, but you must be in the spirit to surprise. This particular day, I said I was surprising my husband. And we were coming from America on the day of his birthday. Whilst in America, I still decided to organize a surprise birthday dinner. And people were seated waiting for us. And we were supposed to land at 10 p.m. at least. We landed 10:30. But you see, such surprises, you need to really, really enter into the spirit before you can do a surprise like that. Otherwise, your name will be on. Please, I don't want your name to be Dot. So either you enter into the spirit to fix a surprise party or a surprise lunch or a surprise dinner, or come to me, the prophetess in charge of surprises. I thought you give. So I want you to know, ladies and gentlemen, this kind of surprise is not easy. If you want to surprise it well so you don't spoil the thing. You can also buy a gift depending on your pocket. We are still talking about celebrations. You can get a nice jewelry. And when we talk about jewelry, don't be scared. Don't be scared. Don't look at my wedding rings and be scared. Please, cut your coat according to your size. You can get a jewelry for 10 Ghana cedis, 20, 30. You heard me well. It is true. If you go to Mokola now, you can get a nice, decent jewelry for 10 Ghana cedis, 20 Ghana cedis, 30 Ghana cedis. So you don't have to panic when we talk about jewelry. You can also buy a shoe. You can buy slippers. You can buy a dress. You can buy cloth. You can buy royal ladies cloth. Please, you can buy royal ladies cloth. 3 yards, 4 yards, 6 yards, it's okay. You can also buy WMG t-shirts. It is allowed. Or the men's. I don't want Reverend Agre to say I didn't mention the men. You can buy the men's cloth. And it is allowed. So you can also buy lace. You can buy African shirts for the men. But I want you to listen carefully. If you don't know the taste of your wife, or you are not a good shopper, please don't force. And instead of celebrating the birthday, it turns into a quarrel. You can either give her the money to go and shop, like my husband does. My husband is not sure my level now. My darling, who placed me in this level? Who placed me in this level? It is him. So he's not sure my level now, if you'll be able to impress me. So what he does is he gives me the money and I go to shop. Or you can also take your wife to the shop. Let her pick and then you pay. And then the wives, if your husband is taking you to the shop for you to pick, for him to pay, please be wise. If you are not wise, the following week, or the following year, or the following 2 years, or the following 5 years, your birthday will be forgotten. If you don't want your birthday to be forgotten, and he takes you into the shop, please pick sensibly. You can also buy a gift card, and it is allowed. You can also order something from his tailor or from her dressmaker, and it is fine. You can also send a surprise birthday cake to her workplace or to his workplace. A hamper of fruits, hamper of pastries, hamper of groceries is also allowed. We'll be going on a break, but before we go on a break, today, we are talking about blood groups and about hemoglobin genotype. I know there are 4 main ones, but I'm not an expert. I'm an expert in concoctions. But this one, I'm not an expert in it. But I know there are 4 main types: the A, the B, the AB, and the O. And then there are also 4 main types of the hemoglobin genotype. That is AA, AS, AC, and SS. Get your notebooks and your pens ready. You will need to make a lot of notes today. And then you would also get your many writing device, tablets, iPad, what else? Your phone, your laptop, anything to make notes. You will really, really need it. Don't ever think that you are too far from getting married, so you will learn. A lot of the things I know now, I even knew them before I got married. So please, if you are not married, make notes. If you're also married, you will need it for yourself, your spouse, your children, and your grandchildren. We will go on break, and then I'll introduce my guests. I have a very special guest in the studio today. Please, we will go and we'll come back and I introduce my special guests.
Hello, lovely viewers. This is Pastor Arnold Abraham, and you're watching Powerline TV. we are glad to bring to you Heal Our Land. Over the past few months, the world has been contending with this deadly COVID-19 virus. But the message of the Apostle General is to bring us hope and faith in the time of trials as this. His sons and daughters will be gracing the studio with me, and we will be looking at how you can enrich your faith, enrich yourself so that fear will not grip you, but rather you'll be victorious. Catch us live on Powerline TV every Thursday at 7 p.m. and your life will never be the same again. This is Heal Our Land, and I'm your host, Pastor Arnold Abraham.
Heal Our Land, showing Thursdays at 7 p.m. Showing this and every Sunday at 3 p.m. and repeats on Wednesdays at 4 p.m.
Welcome back to Family Life with Mama Rita. I have a very special guest today. When I found out that he was married, I said, oh my God, I need grandchildren who are very intelligent. Oh my God, why did he marry before now? My special guest is Dr. Dennis Danso Kumi. Dr. Kumi is a medical doctor at Ika House Clinic in Accra. He is also doctor at Department of Emergency Medicine, Kolebu. Listen, that's why I say you shouldn't have married before. He's the first doctor to graduate as valedictorian of the University of Ghana. In other words, the one who topped. And then Obinfo, I need such people in my family. And also the one who read the speech, the graduation speech, on behalf of his colleagues. They don't just choose. Graduation journalist. I like that. He's not a small boy. One of the most decorated medical graduates in Ghana in terms of academic awards. Please receive the spirit. 21 academic prizes in total. His children must marry my grandchildren. I need intelligence in my family. Achieving an unparalleled mark. Those who have been to school are the only ones who understand this. Mark of 4.0 GPA. Once I was being in both pre-medical program and medical sciences program. He recently started his residency training in Chicago with the hope to be a great cardiologist. Dr. Kumi is married to a beautiful lady, Gertrude. So the single ladies here, if you were eyeing, or you are in UK and you are eyeing Dr. Kumi, please, if he's single, I would have been the first to grab. There's Auntie Getty, and they are married with 3 beautiful, adorable children. And he's a lover of Christ. That is what I love. I love people who are intelligent and they love Jesus. What I can't stand, what I'm allergic to, is somebody who is shalai. You won't get close to Christ. For Christ to change things about your life. My darling, if you think we are going nowhere as Christians, at least I have a proof. Dr. Kumi, you are welcome.
Thank you.
And I miss you. I haven't seen you in how many years?
Like 5 years.
About 5 years. Oh my God. Today, I just couldn't wait to have you in my studio. About 5 years ago, I invited you to Royal Ladies meeting to talk about sickle cell and the blood groups, and is it okay for AC to be married to SS? Is it okay for an SS to be AS to be married to another AS? Is it okay for another SS to be married to an SS? Recently on our program, somebody asked if it was okay to be married. I think he's AS and has met another lady, or has met a lady who is SS. And he wanted to find out and to ask if it was okay to marry. I knew that wasn't my level. I'm staying in my level. So, pardon? The herbalist level. I like that. I want to stay at the herbalist level. So, you are welcome once more. I want to find out, if we talk about blood types, blood group, genotype, phenotype, water type, in the nutshell, what are we looking at?
All right. Thank you very much, and I'm glad to be back. So like I said last time, just like the parable of the sower, I like the parts where the seeds fell in the tongues.
That's right. Wow.
So love is very important.
Okay.
But if you don't choose wisely, the tongues could choke you, and love could turn into hatred. So I think it's a very important topic. And
say that again. You said if you don't choose wisely,
yes,
the love
could be choked.
Wow.
By so many tongues in your life.
Wow.
And we've had situations where people were so in love, but the man then sees the woman and says, since I married you, the moment I am paid my salary, I have to take you to hospital or your son to hospital, and every month this happens. And it's as if, you know, in our local situation, maybe you are the cause of my problems in this life. And so that love then starts to look like almost hatred. So it's important for us to love, very, very important. As in, when I talk of love, I mean the affection for man, woman.
Okay.
But we should also go in there very measured in our thoughts, because not only is it a contract between us, but it's a whole social contract. It's like signing in for a firm. If you just look at the money and you don't look at the quality of life, then you end up regretting something that you're going to. So, Mama Rita, you asked what it's all about.
That's
so,
right.
Yes, talking about the blood, what we call hemoglobin. I believe our audience would have heard the word hemoglobin.
That's right.
So when you take the blood, what makes the blood look red is called the red blood cells.
Okay.
All right, it's very important because that is what carries the life within you. Without it, you feel weak and all that. But within the red blood cells, the important component is called hemoglobin.
Okay.
And the hemoglobin, there are types. So we say the normal, perfect hemoglobin that is able to do all the functions is called hemoglobin A.
Hemoglobin A.
Yes, and the very...
I hope you are making notes. You will need it.
And the very imperfect one is called hemoglobin S.
Okay.
In between the A and the S, there are variations of imperfections.
Okay.
So there's one called hemoglobin C,
Okay.
which is not too far away from the S. So the C and the S are both quite abnormal, but the S is the most abnormal.
Okay.
There are other ones you hear, these are rare, but we will limit our discussion to probably these three. So when we say someone has sickle cell disease, what it means is that the person has a lot of hemoglobin A, sorry, hemoglobin S.
Okay.
And the other, all his hemoglobins are also abnormal. First of all, a normal human being acquires two types of hemoglobin.
Okay.
One from the mother, one from the father. So if we say you are totally normal, it means both hemoglobins in your body are AA.
Okay.
Right? So if we say you are abnormal, anything else apart from AA is abnormal.
Okay.
So some people have hemoglobin S and the other have been A. We say they are sickle cell traits.
Okay.
Others have double portion of hemoglobin S. And we say they have sickle cell anemia.
Okay.
So sickle cell anemia is under the bigger umbrella called sickle cell disease. When we say sickle cell disease, anybody who has hemoglobin S and then the other half two is not A.
Okay.
You have S, but your other half two is not A. Because we are saying if you have S and the other half is A, you are called sickle cell trait.
Okay.
But if you have the S 50%, then the rest of your hemoglobin is also something else. D, C, whatever. These groups are all put together and we call it sickle cell disease. Okay. But the severest form of sickle cell disease, we give it a special name, sickle cell anemia. That means SS.
Okay.
People erroneously call them sickless.
Okay.
And it's a term we are trying to deviate from because that means, forgive me to say it in Chi or Yarefo, but that is not a good word to use because such people can live a very perfect life.
Okay.
And
so what do we call them now?
So persons living with sickle cell.
Persons living with sickle
Yes.
cell. Okay.
So it has a lot of burden on the individual, the family, the community, the church, and the country as a whole.
Okay.
So we look at the global burden of sickle cell and what we can do about it. The question is, why is this important? It's important because it affects the couple who are making the decision to get into the relationship and the offspring that come of it, and in fact, other family members around them.
Okay.
So briefly, the problems vary.
Okay, so Dr. Kumi, I have two daughters who are both AS. So I have two AS in my family. What would you advise? What should they look out for if they are going to get married?
So the less,
what would you advise?
Yes, the less the S in your family, the better.
Okay.
And the A is the best to dilute it down.
Okay.
So if you have the chance, you want to get somebody who has AA.
Okay.
The AA meaning that because in all your, what we call gametes, if you are a man, the sperm may either be A or S for an AS person. For the woman to all her eggs may either be A or S. So it means that either way, you have a 50% of donating your S and 50% of donating your A.
Okay.
If your partner is full AA, then it means either ways you are covered.
Okay.
Because if I give my S, he dilutes it down with his A. If I give my A, we get AA.
Okay.
So it's the best choice that you get an AA individual as a partner.
Okay. Is there ever a possibility that an AS could marry another AS and never produce SS? Is there a possibility?
Very much.
I see.
Very much, yes. You know, this is where I say spirituality comes in. Because at every conception, we say it's a probability, it's a gamble.
Okay.
We know scientifically that two people who are AS, the chance that a child at any conception will be SS is 25%. It's a quarter chance.
Okay.
But it's like saying that I'm going to stake lotto, but it's a 50 chance that I'll win.
Okay.
Maybe from my family, we are all lucky. So anytime I stake, I win the 50 chance.
Okay.
Maybe from your family, you are not lucky, and every time you stake, you are going to lose.
Okay.
So in the same way, I am going into my first child.
Okay.
The chance scientifically is that 25% of chance I will get an SS.
Okay.
But maybe I am favored and I always be on the 75%. So I can have 10 children who are all going to be AA.
Okay.
So that is possible.
Okay. But so far, with all the people I've dealt with who were ASAS, so far, I haven't seen any who never had SS. They would have maybe one AA, one AS, one SS. So like you are saying, the chances,
Exactly.
so it means that we are loving. But in loving,
yeah, exactly.
in loving, please hit it hard for me.
Yes, you need to
loving.
make informed choice.
Okay.
All right, informed choice. So I am not a gambler. So if I'm going into something, at least I should have about 90% assurance that this one, I will make it. But I'm not a 50-50 person where I know a big chance that 50% I will lose and I still want to go in. So it's a gamble for people to go into. You know that the chances that you have sickle cell, maybe all your 10 children will be sickle cell.
Okay.
And it's difficult to predict. So it's like you have at the back of your mind that this chance is there at any time you have a child.
Okay.
All right.
In Royal House Chapel, before you get married, before we take you through counseling and all that, we make you go and do a blood test. And then we find out your sickle cell, your blood group, and you'll be surprised. So many people do not know their blood groups. They do not know their sickle cell. They do not know, they don't know anything. And just recently, I think this is barely about a month ago, somebody came to me and said, Mommy, I'm SF. And I've never heard that before. What is it? The truth is, I had also never heard SF before. The only one I know is the AA, the AS, the AC, and the SS. I have never in my lifetime heard SF before. So what is actually the SF? And in getting married, what should she go for?
All right. So as I said, if you can remember, that when we say sickle cell disease, you have S and any other abnormal one.
Okay.
So any hemoglobin aside A is abnormal.
Okay.
So the common ones are SS, SC, but we have other forms of sickle cell disease.
Okay.
So we have SF, even SD.
Wow.
Yes, we have other weirder ones. S beta
So,
tau.
Doug, in this case, assuming you get married to, ASF, and you get married to AC or AS, what do you get? What are the combination of children?
So the way to look at the combination is just, cross the numbers and see what can form. All right, so SF and AS. You can form AF, you can form another SF,
Okay.
you can form AS, and all the possible. So any letter in there can combine with each other. And the F is also quite abnormal. Actually, the F stands for fetal.
Okay.
So when you are in your mother's womb, the type of hemoglobin that forms in you initially is called a fetal hemoglobin.
Okay.
It is quite weak. And it doesn't last. Because you are in your mother's womb, you are not really exposed to a lot of pressures from outside. So it has a very short lifespan. Some people, unfortunately, when they get older, are not able to transform. Naturally, when you are born, your body should transform from producing hemoglobin F to the normal, which is hemoglobin A.
Okay.
But unfortunately, this person was one half of his hemoglobin still remained F.
Okay.
The other half that became adult hemoglobin, unfortunately, didn't form normal and ended up being S. So you are maintaining fetal hemoglobin on one side and abnormal hemoglobin S on the other side. That's what we call SF.
Okay. So would we say that the SFs are also sickle, they have sickle cell disease?
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
And it's also one of the severe form of sickle cell disease,
wow.
actually.
Oh, wow. So now we also want to look at the blood groups. What are the blood groups? What do we look out for when you are going to get married, when you are pregnant, and all that? What should we look out for?
All right. So Mama Rita rightly started by mentioning there were 4 main blood groups. All right. So for our discussion, we will maintain it at that because that's the truth. The main blood groups are the 4. We have A, we have B, we have AB, and we have O. The way I discuss it is we see the blood groups as a way. It's like a jersey. The way you see the red, you know this one is a Man U or Liverpool. Unfortunately for Man U, now it's Liverpool.
Okay.
When you see the blue, you think it's. By the way, I'm a Man U fan. So.
Wow! Wow!
So.
Wow! Me, I don't know inside though, but I know my son is Man U.
Yeah. So when you see the blue, you recognize Chelsea. Similarly, we come as different individuals. The body has to find a way. For instance, if let me make a weird example. If they cut part of me and attach it to you, your body must find a way of knowing that this is not me.
Okay.
So those markers are called antigens.
Okay.
And on your blood too, the body has a way of knowing that, hey, it is my blood that is just flowing.
Okay.
Or at least, if not me, it's something similar to me.
Okay.
And we call them blood group or blood antigens.
Okay.
So it is these antigens or jerseys on the blood
Okay.
for recognition that we give names to.
Okay.
So jersey A, jersey B, without jersey, it's called O.
Okay.
That's where I'm coming to. So when you use
without the jersey?
the bare-chested people, those ones,
okay.
you know.
Oh, wow.
So that it's important to know it that way. So A means you are jersey number A.
Okay.
B means B. Jersey number AB, he has a half.
Okay.
You know, half of his shirt is red, half is blue. He's called
Okay.
AB.
Okay.
Then O means he's shirtless. He doesn't have any color.
Wow.
All right, so O is like 0, not.
Okay.
But we give it a term O.
Okay.
So that's what leads to the 4 groups. So actually there are just 2 antigens, actually,
Okay.
A and B.
Okay.
If you have both antigens, you are called AB.
Okay.
If you have only A, you are called A. If you have only B, you are called B. If you have none, you are called O. All right? And just as I said, it's a way of recognition. So if we are all supposed to be A, and then I see someone coming shirtless, I know he doesn't belong here.
Okay.
In the same way, if we are supposed to be B, and I see an A person, I know he doesn't belong. Okay. And that is where the reactions come. The question you ask now is, how is this important?
Okay.
One, for the idea of blood transfusion.
Okay.
It comes up a lot, especially for women going to give birth.
Okay.
You may require blood transfusion. And the blood given to you must be accepted by your body.
Okay.
So if I am A and you want to give me blood group B, my body sees the B jersey as not part of me.
Okay.
And it will react against
Okay.
it. And even for organ donation, I believe some of us have heard about organ donation, kidney transplants and co. These same blood group antigens are very key.
Okay.
If you don't match blood group antigens, you cannot give an organ to somebody because it's going to react. The reason is that even though we call them blood group antigens, these same antigens are also found on most other organs of the body.
Okay.
Just that they were studied in blood, so we always think of them as blood. But they are found everywhere in solid organs, the liver, the kidney. You find the A, B, and co. also over there.
Okay.
And oftentimes when you hear, you don't just hear A, you hear A positive,
Okay.
A negative.
Okay.
So there is another blood group antigen called the Rhesus factor.
Okay.
So just to let you know, like Mama Rita mentioned SF, one day you hear something else. The blood group antigens are actually more than just A and B.
Okay.
They are actually a lot.
Wow.
They are a lot. All right. But the common ones are the A and B. So you hear A, B, O, and all that. It doesn't mean that's all there is. So there's another one which is also important for today's discussion called the Rhesus antigen or the Rhesus factor. And the name I always say, just so you remember, that is from a rhesus monkey. All right. That was where the study was found. So the name Rhesus is Rhesus monkey.
Okay.
But those of us who have the Rhesus antigen, if I see your blood in me, I need to recognize that you are part of me, and you must also register the Rhesus. So if you have the Rhesus antigen present, we say you are positive.
Okay.
Negative meaning you don't have. So if I say you are A positive, it means first of all you have blood antigen A.
Okay.
And you have Rhesus antigen also present.
Okay.
That's what gives you the name A positive. If I say you are A negative, it means yes, you have blood group antigen A, but you don't have the Rhesus antigen present.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Okay. So now I am O. I know I am O. Let me forget about the negative or the positive now. For O, who can give me blood? Assuming I need blood transfusion, who can give me blood? Or we need to look at the negative and the positive to be able to know who will be able to give me blood?
Yes, it's important.
Oh,
but
okay.
generally, just to make it simple, O doesn't have any antigens. All right? So it means that he will repel both the A and repel the B.
Okay.
You understand? Because he is shirtless. So whatever your shirt is, he doesn't care. So far as you are in shirt, he knows you are not part of him.
Okay.
It doesn't matter the color. So for somebody with blood group O, he can't take blood from A, he can't take blood from B, he can't take blood from AB. He can only take shirtless people like himself, which are O.
Oh, okay.
On the other hand, the AB is good. AB would tolerate O. You don't have a shirt, but he will give you a shirt to wear. You understand? So he will tolerate O. He will tolerate A because he's half A.
Okay.
He will tolerate B because he's half B.
Okay.
And he will tolerate AB because he himself is AB.
Okay.
So AB is the most receptive blood group.
Okay. AB.
AB. They would receive blood from almost everybody.
Okay.
Then the others, A would take blood
So
from...
you are saying that AB can even take from O?
Yes.
Okay.
And actually O is the blood group that is easy to donate because it doesn't have any part. It's like it can go anywhere.
Okay.
He's a guy who doesn't have a shirt, so when he comes, you can put any shirt you like on him and take him like that.
Okay.
So if you want to make him A, you just put an A on him and keep him by you, like just to say it in that way. So O blood often can be given to almost anybody in an emergency situation. So you can donate O blood to people. So that's the irony of it. You can give the blood of an O person to almost everybody, but you can't give anybody else's. It doesn't.
Dr. Kumi, that is why I believe Jesus was O, like me. Jesus was O, because if Jesus could give blood to everybody seated here, oh wow.
Yes, so yes, he mentioned the universal donor. They are called the universal donor. All right, they will donate to everybody, but unfortunately, only their kind can give them back.
Okay.
So he's generous, but unfortunately, only one person can give him something.
Okay.
And then the reverse for AB.
Okay.
It's called the universal recipient. He will receive from everybody, but he can only give back to his kind.
Okay.
AB. So unfortunately, it's the direct opposite. AB would take blood from everyone, but he can only reciprocate to AB.
Wow.
O will rather
Very
give
selfish.
to very. O will rather give to everyone, and yet would only take from his kind.
So everybody is taking from us.
Exactly.
And they are not giving to us.
So when you go to the blood bank, oftentimes blood group O is finished.
Oh,
Because
okay.
any emergency,
They
get
go
me
for
group O. Any emergency, get me group O. Yes. So that is the situation. And we love them when they come to donate.
Okay.
Because we know this blood is gold. You can give to anybody. So when you have
Did you hear? My blood is gold. Treat me well, so I can always give you blood like Jesus. Wow. Oh, okay.
Yes.
So when it comes to B can receive from only AB.
Only B.
Only B.
Yes. Or O. Because as we said, O can be taken by anybody else.
Okay.
So B can only receive from fellow B or from O.
Okay.
A can receive from fellow A or O.
Okay.
AB can receive from everybody.
Okay. So now, what's the difference between the negative and the positive? I know I am O positive. So I have children who are B positive and I have children who are B negative. What is the difference?
Yes, so it complicates the issue a bit. You see, we made it simple by just saying A can receive blood from A. But when you now add the other antigens, then things get a bit complex. So the positivity must also match.
Okay.
The thing here is, the way I try to explain it to make it sensible or easy to understand is, the Rhesus antigen is like something that is not, is something, I usually say it's a dirty thing, all right? So unfortunately, those who are positive, you bear that dirt on you, which in a sense would have been a bad thing, but is a majority carries the day kind of thing. Majority of human beings are Rhesus positive. So even though it was supposed to be an antigenic thing, then it qualifies you rather to be the normal.
Okay.
Whereas the minority, let me not call it abnormal, the minority are rather the negative group. Okay. So for somebody who is positive, I already have dirt on me anyway. So if you give me nice clothes, I don't have a problem. So for a positive person, if you give me a negative blood, I will receive it. You understand? Negative means there's no dirt on it. Okay. It is negative of antigens. It is negative. So I already have antigens and I'm not complaining.
Okay.
I am positive. So if you are giving me something that is even cleaner, why should I complain? I will actually be more grateful. On the other hand, the one whose blood is clean of antigens, meaning he's negative of antigens, he will not receive a positive blood because he will react to it.
Okay.
So it's like a dirty room and you are bringing clean towels. Nobody complains. The reverse cannot be done. You can't send dirty towels to a clean room. Let's see it in that way. So for a positive person, he already has antigens. So he can take both his antigen positive blood from a fellow plus antigen negative blood and he will be okay. But the reverse, if you are giving a negative blood to negative, he will be fine.
Okay.
But a positive blood to a negative person, there will be a big reaction.
Okay. So Dr. Kumi, assuming somebody gets pregnant and is positive or is negative, what happens when you are pregnant? What happens to, or can a negative get married to a positive? Or a positive get married to a negative? How do you explain it?
Yes, it's very important because when it comes to Rhesus antigen, this is one of the big issues that comes up. So we know that it's only a problem when the mother is negative.
Okay.
Only a problem when the mother is negative and the partner, that's the husband, is positive.
Wow.
It's only in this scenario that you are worried.
Okay.
Any other scenario, forget about it.
Okay.
No problem. The only scenario you will be worried about is a pregnant woman who is negative.
Negative. It doesn't
of
matter.
Any type.
Okay.
O negative, B negative, it doesn't matter. Her blood is negative, the woman.
Okay.
And her husband is positive. That is where the problem is.
Wow.
The reason is that the child she's carrying may either take after her blood and also be negative. Then that one, no problem. We are both negative. Or the child may take after the father.
Okay.
So now you have a woman who is negative carrying a baby who is positive. Okay. You understand? So it's like you've transfused the foreign body into her. And she will start mounting an immune reaction to destroy that baby. Oftentimes, the first baby may escape because the reaction may take a while to build up, by which time the baby is already born. But the immune system leaves memory. It doesn't forget. Okay. So, as they say in Chi, say, so now you have found your way out, no problem, we've marked you. So the next baby that will come, there will be a very brutal reaction. And most of those babies are either miscarried or they are born with a lot of complications. Yes.
I see. So what do you have to do? What must a negative woman do if she's pregnant?
Yes, most doctors, this is like one of the things like Holy Grail. The moment you see a pregnant woman who is negative, most of the folder you see, they will even put a red mark there. It's a big issue for anyone. So doctors don't miss that. But for you, you should also know what to do. So there is a medication that is used to kind of blindfold the immune system and pretend like no stranger passed here. Forget about that boy you saw. He's not a stranger. You know, so we have a way to trick the immune system, sort of. This medication must be given to you in the course of the pregnancy. Usually after your second trimester, you'll be given a shot of it. And then just after you deliver, you are given another shot. As I said, it's a way to kind of cover the antigen so that your immune system doesn't recognize it. If your immune system doesn't recognize that there's a positive baby, he wouldn't react. And therefore, there will not be any memory left for subsequent pregnancy. And this must be done in all your pregnancy, unless you are sure you are done. So after the last one, I don't want again. So maybe you can decide not to have that injection. But if you are hoping for subsequent pregnancy, then it means your previous pregnancy, you must do the same injection.
So it means that from the very first pregnancy, you start taking those shots?
Very first. The moment your immune system recognizes and reacts once, it's done. You can't undo that reaction. It leaves a memory forever. So you don't want the memory to build at all.
So, Doc, what are you saying? Assuming I am negative and I didn't know I was negative, I got pregnant as a teenager and I caused abortion. There was no shot given to me, no medication given to me. What are you saying? What happens to, assuming I get married now and I am negative, my husband is positive? What happens to the children I would have?
Yes, so the same reaction can, because you see, an abortion or even an early miscarriage is still pregnancy. So your body would have already been sensitized. And so sometimes the woman may forget that I had a miscarriage many years ago. So she thinks she's having her first pregnancy, but that's not your first. Your first pregnancy has already been recognized by your immune system, and it's already armed to the teeth against the one you are calling first now is actually your second. So it will be destroyed. So you realize that the woman keeps having multiple miscarriages all the time, yes.
Wow. So what do you do under this circumstance?
Yes, there are therapies that can assist, but as far as I know, there's not much that has been done about that. The best bet is to prevent. Most of the medications now, the aim is to prevent the reaction. But when the reaction is already taking place, it's often quite difficult to do. But we can ask them to see the gynecologist, and there are newer, innovative ways. Medicine keeps moving forward. So every problem, hopefully, is surmountable. But our best bet is that you don't want that scenario to happen to you.
I hope somebody is listening to us. When the Bible talks about walking in holiness, my darling, God knew your situation before he asked you to walk in holiness, before he asked you to flee fornication. Assuming you don't know your blood group, you get pregnant, you are born again, or you are not even born again. You are scared what your parents might say, so you abort. Now, you are getting married proper. You think you are going to have your first baby. In actual fact, that first baby is not your first baby. It might be your third. Somebody says it. Or your fourth. So now you start having issues and complications and complications. So, Doc, what happens to somebody who is negative, marries a positive? She knows she's negative, but she gets pregnant and she doesn't know she's pregnant. What happens?
So it doesn't matter. It's about the age of the pregnancy. The early stages of pregnancy, usually the babies what we call the placenta is now forming. So there's very little exchange between the baby and the mother. So that's why we don't intervene early. It's the later stages when the placenta is fully formed.
Wow.
From the second trimester onwards. That is when the tissues of the baby start to interact with the mother.
Oh, okay.
So it is at that point that the mother may start to recognize that, hey, there is a foreign tissue here and start to produce immunity.
Oh, okay.
So in your early stages, you may not know. But if you are not beyond your second trimester, it's not too late. The moment your doctor recognizes, they take the necessary action, you'll be fine.
Wow.
You'll be fine.
Hey, you've been listening to us. We are looking at blood groups, and we are looking at the other one is
The resource.
resource. So blood group and resource. Blood group and resource. We are looking at that. Doug is saying that before you get married, my darling, before you fall in love, you need to also check, what are you? Are you AA? Are you AS? Are you AC? My darling. And I've told my daughters, I don't want to be a grandmother. This work I have started here, I won't stop. It has come to stay. Yeah. You didn't clap. So I don't want to be a grandmother running around. Doug says we shouldn't say sickless. We should say,
Persons with sickle cell.
pardon?
Persons with sickle cell.
Persons with sickle cells. I don't want to be running around. I was in school with friends who have sickle cells, and I don't know. We will go on break. Get your questions ready. We'll also do a phone in. I will invite another wonderful woman who is also a nurse to join Dr. Kumi. She has worked with children for years. She would share her story and her experiences with, I don't want to say sickle cell, well, sickle cell, not sickless, but sickle cell children, what it means like, and the agony parents go through. She will share with you. Get your questions ready. We'll also do phone in today. If you have direct questions, Dr. Kumi is a very busy man. Ask all your questions today. But I hope on his screen, his email is on. You can email him and then ask your questions, assuming you are not able to ask your question today. So you can phone in, and then we can also, you can also write your questions like you do every week, and then Dr. Kumi, and then another nurse will answer your questions. Stay tuned. We'll be back with the question time.
There was contention in Israel as to which God is God. There is a certain Jezebel who had brought a foreign god called Baal. And Baal had so many prophets, and they were worshiping him with passion and intensity. And then there was this prophet called Elijah, who was also propagating the name of a certain God of Israel. And nobody was listening to him. Then he said, listen, I am tired of this situation. Today we have to settle the matter. Which God is God? He said, let's meet on Mount Carmel. Let's build 2 altars and then kill a bull and put it on the altar. And then let the God who responds to prayer by fire, let him be God. Then they leaped about the altar which they had made. They jumped, they danced, they involved. And so it was at noon that Elijah mocked them and said, cry aloud, for he is also a God. Cry. Maybe he's meditating. Maybe he's talking to somebody. Or he's too busy. I don't know what he's busy over. But I have another God however busy he is, when he's going and then I shout, Jesus, son of David, he stops and he says, who is calling me? However, Kayabo Shanderia. Why would you put your trust in a God who can be busy with one person at a time? Call him. Maybe he's on a journey. Your God has traveled. And a God who does not answer prayer is on a journey. But my God can travel to the earth for 33 years, and yet the heavens and the earth were still held together. Even though he left his kingdom above and he came on this earth as a man for 33 years, heaven didn't pass away, earth didn't pass away. He was on a journey, but the stars and the skies and the moon and everything were held together. That is the God that I serve. That is the Jehovah Zebaoth that I am introducing you to. Come on. Who is your God?
To Family Life with Mama Rita. You've been listening to Dr. Kumi, powerful, intelligent man. I mean, shall we give it up to him? I thought I had heard him and I knew everything. But today I have learned more things. If you made very good notes, please keep it. You would need it. Get your questions ready. Joining us in the studio is another wonderful woman. Hey! Wife of one of our powerful pastors. Mrs. Alijata. Alijata. You are broffolizing it. Mrs. Alijata Dugbe. Dagbe. Oh, sorry, Dagbe. Married for 8 years and blessed with 3 wonderful, adorable children. Very confident children. A pediatric nurse by profession. She's been working as a nurse for 11 years and has risen to the rank of senior nursing officer. She's currently with the Ghana North Municipal Hospital of Anko. Welcome, Mrs. Dagbe.
Thank you, Ma'am.
You have worked with children, and you've worked from the north to the south. You have worked with children with sickle cell. What was it like, and how did you see the parents every time their crisis came?
Thank you, Mommy, for the opportunity once again. My first time was seeing a sickle cell patient. Actually, I was scared myself.
Wow.
As a young nurse from school, they rushed in a 4-year-old boy, pardon me with my language, with erection,
Wow.
what we term priapism. And I didn't know what to do. The feet were swelling too, and the hands.
Wow.
So the other kids around were giggling, because seeing their colleague that way. I had to control myself, and I called a senior person. Fortunately, before the senior person arrived, the pediatric specialist was around, and he was like, Alija, calm down. This is sickle cell disease. The fellow is in crisis, and that was what calmed me down, because I didn't know what to do. Apparently, this boy was beaten from home, because his uncle thought the boy was masturbating. That's why he had the
Oh my
priapism.
God. 4-year-old.
4-year-old child. So That means the family has no knowledge of such an illness, and the boy lost the mom and was being taken care of by his grandmom.
Oh my God.
So we don't really have much history, but from all indication, the doctor started following the history, and we realized this. The mom actually was SS. So we had to intervene, and it took over 24 hours before the erection could calm down.
Wow.
And this boy was in severe pain, crying all the time. Different analgesics were given, painkillers were given, and we're running infusions just to hydrate him. And it was true that the boy was calm.
Wow.
That was my first case. But often, these children come in, sometimes the parents look more miserable than the children.
Than the children. My God.
Because your child is in pain, especially the very young ones. Another one I encountered, mommy, was 5 months.
5 months.
Very little.
You mean the baby was 5 months?
Yes, ma'am.
And had crisis?
And had crisis. The only way we could identify it was sickling was because of the swelling. Because the child can't tell you how much he or she is in pain. So you, per your the discretion, will have to tell this is sickling. And the mom has no knowledge about it. Because the mom doesn't even know the father's status.
Can you imagine?
And so, such children, it's all about hydration, managing the pain with painkillers, also checking to see if there's any infection, and also you need to check the temperature.
Okay.
For instance, Accra now is very cold, and such children, as we speak, are going through crisis.
Wow.
And
so what would you advise? Dr. Kumi has said it already, but you have seen it from both the children's side and from the parents. If you had a child who was AS, what would you advise? Would you advise the child to go for another AS? Or if the child was SS, what would you advise him to go for if they were getting married?
Thank you, Mommy. Dr. Kumi did a very perfect job there. Because if we think of today without thinking of tomorrow,
that's right. I like that.
Our tomorrow will be a disaster. You are in love. It's good to be in love. But you should also think of what comes afterwards. Will you be able to withstand it? You are couples, AS. You've gone to marry AS. Mommy, I have an example. The first time I met these people, I actually cried. They are old now. A pastor, and who is now retired. AS, they got married and had 3 children. They lost the last one 5 years ago.
Wow.
All the children.
All the children are
SS.
SS.
Yes. They lost the last one 5 years ago. And I didn't understand why aged people be living alone without any child. And
also, you mean they lost all 3?
All 3.
And they lost the last one 5 years ago. Oh my God.
So out of my curiosity, I asked. And when the woman started talking, it was then I realized that it was sickling, their sickling status and not spirituality. These couples had someone living with them. The lady ran away. That was the woman's niece. She ran away because she thought it was communicable.
Oh. Break it down for Pastor. So she thought she could also get it.
So instead of staying with them to learn, she had served faithfully and they enrolled her into a trade. When the last child passed on, she ran out of the house.
Because she thought she would be the next. Some witches, the man could be a wizard or the woman could be a witch. Oh my God. Please get your questions ready. And then our phone lines are also on. You can phone in and then ask your question. Do we have any question?
Yes, we
now
have a lot of questions.
Wow.
Coming in. Well, we'll go straight away. It's getting very educative, and at the same time, people are worried. But this one is a comment from Joseph Asumeni Owusu. He says, "Greetings to my friend and classmate, Dr. Dennis, from Joseph Asumeni."
Wow.
Watching live.
So you see, the world is watching you. People are watching you all over the world, from UK, from US, from across the nation, Ghana, everywhere.
But mommy, we have to find out if doctor really knows Joseph Asumeni. Some people can say it and they are not classmates.
He nodded. I think he knows.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Joseph, for tuning in. Please send your questions through +233 200 515253. The phone lines are also active, the same number. You can call and you speak to Mama Rita and the panel of professionals who are here to address our needs. Are you compatible? It's getting interesting. I'll go straight away to our first question. This one says, what if you miscarry before the second trimester? You are negative and your husband is positive.
Dr. Kumi.
Yes, so that's a very interesting question. And the more reason why your pregnancy should be seen by your doctor, preferably your obstetrician, very early, because they must anticipate such event. Anytime there's any event that may lead to some bleeding, it may be miscarriage, it may be a procedure being done, interventions must be taken in any of such procedures. So a miscarriage before the second trimester would warrant you being given the necessary medication, like I mentioned.
Okay.
Right? So in that situation, don't wait right away, because she's had an event that can cause what we call isoimmunization. That means the immune system reacting.
All right. Mommy, we have our first caller for you. Thank you so much, doctor. Hello.
Hello, we are ready for you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Gift. I'm calling from. Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Gift. I'm calling from Odumase.
Odumase, okay. Your question, please.
Mama Rita, we are very big of you here. We love you so much.
Thank you.
And my question is, I am AB negative.
AB negative, okay.
And my husband is A positive.
A positive, okay.
Yeah. So I'm just thinking, because we have 2 kids now, and they are all healthy. Recently, the second one is 1 year, 1 month.
Okay.
So we went and tested blood, and it's A positive. Just like that.
Okay.
So I'm concerned if maybe she's not, we don't have 4. So I don't know. I just want doctor to help and touch things.
You have the question?
Yeah,
okay.
I have an idea.
So Dr. Kumi would answer you.
Yeah, so I think this kind of question has come up.
Okay.
The worry is that, okay, I've had 2 kids, nothing happened.
Okay.
So do I need to get worried? Is it that something could happen to them? Yeah, the answer is no.
Okay.
I mean, usually there will be a reaction. It's in the neonatal stages, the first 1 month.
Okay.
They will be anemic, they would be this, they will be that. But if you are, as I said, fertilization or conception or pregnancy, there's some bit of probability and chance here.
Okay.
So as much as we've scientifically determined what the risk is, it doesn't always mean everybody automatically goes through that.
Okay.
So that's how come you can find somebody AS, and they'll have 10 kids all AA.
Okay.
Yes, so in the same way, people may fit the at-risk group.
Okay.
A negative woman has a positive husband, has a child who is positive, and still have normal children without any reaction.
Okay.
Sometimes the reaction might have occurred, but it's so minimal that it didn't have a clinical effect on the child.
Okay.
So that is what happens. And people have had 3 kids without any significant problem. So you are lucky.
Okay.
Or
Thank you.
maybe it's God's strength. So we thank God.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mrs. Dagbe, you can always come in when you want to. Okay.
So for our listeners who are calling in, we'll advise when you phone in, kindly tune down your set and also make your question as brief as possible so we can take a lot more and then give our panelists enough time to address your questions. Mommy will go to the second caller.
Okay.
Hello?
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Hello. Good evening.
My name is Molly. I'm calling from Kansas. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, my name is Molly. I'm calling from Kansas.
Okay. Where are you calling from, please?
I would
Bando.
like to Kansas.
Okay.
Yeah, I would like to know. Mando.
Yes, please go ahead with your question.
I would like to know that if you are a man and woman and baby positive, and the lady who are actually dating or working with is also having negative.
Okay.
What is the possibility of the 2 of you when you give birth? What is the possibility of it? Either in a particular or just child. I would like to know.
Okay. Doc, did you hear the question? Are you still on? You are saying you are AB negative.
Yes.
And then the lady you are going out is also positive.
Yes.
And you are asking the possibility of getting sickness. You see, we are talking about 2 different things now. We are talking about blood group, and then we are also talking about
The hemoglobin type,
the hemoglobin type.
which is the sickle cell.
So the sickle cell type, and then the type of your blood group. So what you are talking about now is your blood group, which has nothing to do with you having children with sickling traits. So with what you are saying, we can't tell now whether your children could be will have sickle cell traits or not. You need to know your hemoglobin, whether you are AS, whether you are AA, whether you are AC, or whether you are SS. But AB or A, it is difficult to know. Thank you so much.
All right, we have a lot of questions here, Mommy. If you are watching, we welcome you to Family Life series here from the studios of Powerline TV, live on YouTube and on Facebook, Sam Crunchy Ankara. We are also live on your Digibus on Powerline TV. Across the nation, across the West African region, and across the globe, you can tune in, send to somebody, let's get talking with the hashtag Family Life here with Mama Rita. Mommy, this question goes to Doctor. He says, I would like to find out if the daily intake of Zingovit can help a child with sickling status. If yes, how long can the child be on the drug? Also, if there are any side effects for taking this drug both long-term or short-term?
Mrs. Dagbe, since it's to children, this is your area.
Thank you. Normally, it's folic acid we put these children on for life.
Folic acid is you put, you give children folic acid for life.
Yes.
Okay. And what are the side effects? Somebody's asking.
The fellow asked concerning zinc. It's
Zinc, okay. So you don't need to give zinc.
It's a supplement.
Okay.
Yes, so he mentioned Zincovit. It's actually a multivite.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of times, as Mrs. Dagbe said, we put them on folic acid. But in addition, just supplementing their vitamins is also ideal sometimes.
Okay.
If the child is eating well, has very adequate nutrition, then they may not need the extra supplement.
Okay.
So these are vitamins, and a lot of them are water-soluble vitamins. So vitamin B, vitamin C, and what have you. It doesn't often accumulate inside. So the worry about it being overdosed or toxic is not something we are often worried about, unless you probably decide to carry the whole container and give to the child. So we are not really concerned about risk.
So what Dr. Kumi is saying is that all these medications are water soluble. In other words, when you urinate, it passes through your urine. Perfect. So it doesn't leave toxins in your system. So the child can be on it for life without having side effects. And then make sure that your children are also eating well. They are eating well-balanced meals. And I keep saying it on our show. Our meals in Ghana is good. Our contomere is good. Garden eggs is good. Banku and okro is good. Batuo safi is good. Please stop the fast food for the children. Check, stop it. Once a while, they can have it as a form of celebration, but it shouldn't be a regular meal. The one that all the students take to school. Indomie, my darling. Indomie is only starch. Indomie is only starch. Custard is only starch. Cocoa between the white corn and then the millet. The millet has more of protein than the white corn.
And what about soakings?
The what?
Soakings.
Soakings. Our gari is good. Our gari is good. But it must always be balanced. If you are taking gari soakings, it must be with milk or peanuts or something. Make sure that it's a well-balanced diet. So please, if you don't know about a balanced diet, when you go to the hospital, ask for a dietitian or just talk to your doctor or your nurse. They can get you somebody who can show you what to give to your child with sickle cell. It's very, very important. Awesome. I know people with sickle cell that are married, they have children, they have grandchildren. I know people who stay till 65 years, 70, 75. So, my darling, if you take very good care of them well, they'll live very long.
Mommy, we have our next caller on the line. Hello.
Hello, please.
Hello.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. Where are you calling from, please? Where are you calling from, please?
My name is
Oh, the line is bad. Go ahead, please. Hello.
Okay, Mommy, I think we're struggling.
So
please
you can come back.
Whilst we wait for our next caller, Mommy, this one says...
You can always call in. Once you call, we stop the question.
God bless you so much, Mommy, for this eye-opener, and God bless your panelists. My question, please. Do certain chronic diseases have to do with your blood group? This is coming from Pastor Anas.
Okay.
So this is, I was praying for this question. Actually.
You were praying for this question.
Yeah, because I've been quite worried about how it's making a lot of waves now, people dieting based on blood group and all that. It's truth and it's myth. In fact, it's very true that certain chronic diseases are associated with blood group, and a lot of research data is available.
Okay.
So even things like cardiovascular illness, when I say cardiovascular illness, heart problems and all these, it has been shown that certain blood types seem to have a higher predisposition than others. And especially cancers have been studied a lot. And there are particular cancers like stomach cancer, pancreatic cancers that are commoner in some type of blood groups. Even things like ulcer, duodenal ulcers, gastric ulcers tend to have predilection for certain blood groups.
I hope it's not the O.
Actually, the O seems to be favored a lot in most of these chronic diseases.
God. If you have the blood group Jesus has. Oh, that's the best thing I heard tonight.
Most of the research seems to actually correlate more with the non-O's than the O's. So the O's tend to be the exception, tend to be the protected ones. There are very few situations where the O rather is the one who's affected, but those are few. But most of the conditions tend to rather favor the O's. And even for infections, it's obvious that certain infections, some of the blood groups are more resilient. The O's tend to be very resilient to certain infections, all right? But then it goes into myth.
Okay.
That if you are a certain blood group, you have certain temperament. If you are a certain blood group, you have certain foods. Those are more or less some anecdotal evidence that appeared years ago. And a lot of them have been debunked. They've been disproved. But just for people's own interest, they keep on publishing it in books. And the reason is that when the idea about personality and blood group was published somewhere in Japan, it has been long debunked. But you see, the family that did this publication sold millions of the book because it was a world bestseller. And the son of whoever did it is still propagating. They even have a big board that is still fueling this message around the world. And people actually believe in it and living their lives accordingly and saying, maybe I'm blood group A, I don't match with you, our temperament don't match. But those are fallacies.
That's right.
So when it comes to food and personality, it's been clearly shown that that link is false. But chronic diseases do, and even infections do, relate somehow to different blood groups.
Thank you, Doctor.
Yes, Mommy, and I have also done my own non-scientific research and realized blood group O's are very romantic.
Hey!
They are very romantic, unscientific. So you can publish it and make money. All right, we have our next caller. Hello.
Hello. Our next caller on the line. Hello.
Okay. Hello.
Good evening, sir.
I'm Rena calling from Kaswa.
From Kaswa, okay.
Yes, Kaswa.
Okay.
Yes. I have a friend who is a typical sickle cell patient.
Okay.
And she mostly goes through crisis a lot of times because I know she's exhausted. And then she mostly goes through crisis.
Okay.
But I've realized that most of the her issue level, I mean, her hemoglobin level is 14 and above.
Okay.
My question is that, can there be sickle cell without anemia?
Can there be sickle cell without
Yes.
anemia? Okay. Dr. Kumi.
Well, you know,
Mrs. Dugby, you can come in anytime.
Nothing is absolute. So if on a scientific level, the answer is yes. Okay. Can there be? Of course, it's yes. But is that what you expect? No. Usually, we don't find sickle cell. But it also depends. As I said, we have sickle cell disease. Not all. That's why the SS is called sickle cell anemia.
Okay.
Because almost invariably, they have anemia.
Okay.
But you can have other forms of sickle cell
like
that,
the SC.
Yeah, may not have really severe anemia. They may still be around 11, 12, and may look normal, all right? So you can have sickle cell disease without anemia, all right? But it depends on what he's talking about. And we must also confirm. You know, sometimes people get jaundice, bone pain, and they assume they are sickle cell.
Okay.
So I've had that a number of times. A child has been known by the family to be sickle cell, only for us to later confirm that he had nothing to do with sickle cell. So let's confirm. If it's confirmed that he's in this sickle cell, then it's likely it may not be an SS. It may be other types of sickle cell disease.
When I was in school, I used to tell people I was a sickler because I used to love the attention they were given. Every morning, they boil water for them. They were given special meal. They could go to the sick bay at any time. And I used to love that attention. Oh, my God. So, Dr. Kumi is saying we need to be sure. Some people do not actually have sickle cell, but because of the way they've been falling sick and all that, everybody has labeled them as, let me use this word, sickless. So we need to know. And then we have SS, anemia. Today we have had another one, SF. We know of SC. We know of AC. So we need to know which is which. Thank you.
Okay. You can also have enough blood volume, but still have crisis, in the sense that those with sickle cell, they have the C shape. Normally, red blood cells are round, which flow smoothly. But as a result of poor oxygen supply, their cells easily become C, which makes the flowing through the narrow tissue very difficult. So they accumulate around where the tissue they are having problem in flowing, thereby causing pain around that area and sometimes swelling, which we normally term the crisis. Because when it's like that, the fellow goes through pain. And also when they are exposed to cold weather, they go through crisis. So it's not only low HB or low blood volume that causes a crisis. Some of these also causes crisis in
Mommy, we have Benita from Takrade on the line. Hello, Benita.
Hello, Benita.
Okay.
Or Benita.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm really excited. Mama Rita AJ.
Thank you.
You are your panel.
Thank you.
Yes. So I wanted to ask this question. So if two people are probably going out and then they realize that their blood group wouldn't allow them to be married, would you encourage them to go on, or they would have to separate? I mean, if they come for counseling and then they do the blood test and you realize that this is it, how do you handle that? Okay. Okay.
Dr. Kumi will handle it, and then I'll come in from the church's point of view. But you were talking about blood group. That's it. Yes. Okay. So, Dr. Kumi.
So she's talking about blood group, right?
She's talking. So we are looking at two things. So what we are talking about. We are talking about the blood group, and then we are talking about the hemoglobin.
Yes, so maybe let's do a combine.
So let's do a combine,
yes,
okay.
So we look at the high-risk couple. For instance, we said the blood group, there's really nothing barring them. It's just about taking precaution, letting them know that when you get pregnant, these are the interventions, so that you don't forget. There have been situations where your provider forgot. In some places, the provider probably may lose his license. In certain places, the provider will go scot-free. So you have to also be your own chair and then say, you are supposed to give me this at this time. All right. So that's all for the positive and negative in pregnancy. However, for sickle cell, the aim is that two things. People with sickle cell, we must support them so that they can live a very perfect life. The truth is that in the times past, it was thought that sickle cell, you can't cross more than 35 or 45 years. But that has been challenged. In developed countries where there's proper care, 99% of normal life, right? Whilst here, the life expectancy is still low. It tells you that it's not the condition itself, but it's about how we are treating them. Like she mentioned, a child with priapism who is being flogged. In addition, I mean, that stress alone can actually worsen the crisis of the child. All right? So taking good care of sickle cell people, or they taking good care of themselves, can actually let them live their full potential. The other thing we are worried about is how to reduce the prevalence of it. Because
That's right.
every year in Ghana alone, 2% of all babies born are sickle cell. Wow. That's a lot. I mean, they are almost about, that means you're looking about 10,000 children.
Wow.
All right? 2% are all sickle cell. Every year, the total number of children born, 2% end up being sickle cell children. So if we can make good informed choices before marriage, that's the only way we can try to, manipulate these numbers and then reduce the burden of the disease. So that's what we are talking about here. So it's about you being informed so that you make the right choice. From a doctor's perspective, I wouldn't have any clear cuts and say if you are this and this, you can't marry. But rather what I would tell you is that the highest risk comes with the higher the number of S. So both being SS, that means that one, I will stick my neck and say it's a no-go area.
It's a no-go area.
Because it's like you are going into a gamble already knowing that 100% I will lose.
That's right.
That one is not a good gamble. It's not even a gamble. It's not a gamble. You are not gambling because this one is 100%. All right? Yeah, kind of.
Yeah,
like
a rumble in the jungle.
Mission. The gambles are where there's a slight chance.
That's right.
And the lower the chance of having sickle cell, that's SS anemia, the better for you. So that means 2AS, there's a 25% chance of SS anemia. It's a gamble you may want to take, but in a very informed manner. All right? That means that you could go either ways. But when it goes beyond this, that is a chance that is too risky. So it's like you have SS and AS. That is also a very difficult call. And maybe I'll leave that to Mama Rita too.
Okay, for us as a church, normally, personally, if you come to me and two of you are AS, I look at the age. You are 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, maybe up to 27. I might discourage you from getting married. That is when I will bring in people like Mrs. Dagbe to talk to you, because she has been on the ground and she has seen it from her, she's seen it personally. Babies who are sick, children who are sick, and then the pressure the parents go through. So if you are young and you are AS and you have met another AS, as much as I can, I will discourage you, talk to your parents, and then also send you to the sickle cell unit at Kolebu to go and have a look at what parents and children go through. But then, if you are 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 40, that one, what I will do is that when you are pregnant, the first one, AS, I will stand with you, fasting, prayer. Pray that the 25% chance you either get AA or AS. There's a family I prayed with. Their first twins. The boy was AA, the girl was SS. And I'm telling you, what they've gone through with the SS is not easy. Now there's something called the marrow transplant. If there's time, I will let doctor talk about it. I don't know if they've started it in Ghana, but it's done outside Ghana. It's done in the European countries and then in America. But even that, the number of surgeries the child goes through, my darling, you have to stop work and be in the hospital with the child for weeks and sometimes even months. It's not easy. So if you are young, my darling, you are not falling in love only with your heart, But you are falling in love with your heart and with your brain. But then, like I said, if you are old, you've missed the chance of getting married earlier, and now you are in your 30s and somebody comes with AS, what can we do? I would encourage you would add prayer and fasting to it.
Thank you very much, Mommy. We have Gideon from Sunyani on the line. Hello, Gideon.
Hello, Gideon.
Okay, we are struggling to connect with Gideon, so we'll go.
Hello, Gideon, we can hear you. We will go over to the question.
Yes, please.
You can always call back and then see.
This one says, please, my question is, can we have a child with CC? That's all the question we have, CC.
They said, can we have a child with CC? You are the medical people. I don't know about CC. I know about SC. I don't know about the CC.
Yes. As I said, the numbers can mix anyhow.
Okay.
So the same way we have C, we can have a CC.
Okay.
Yes. So that's very, in fact, it's very common. And it's not as severe as, we don't call that sickle cell, because we said by definition of sickle cell, there should be an S at least.
Okay.
So CC is also an abnormal hemoglobin situation. It's also, they also get some form of crisis, they get some complications, but it's not as severe as SS. Yes.
All right.
Thank you, Doc.
This one says, I have heard people testify how growing up in life, their genotype was altered from SS to AS. Doctor, how is this possible?
I've also heard it before. I don't know
Yes.
if there's anything like that.
Yes. So it's about the accuracy of the information.
Okay.
You see, so when we sit in the clinic, we hear a lot of stories that sound like, hey, some way there, but you don't blame the person, because it's what they know is what they are saying. A lot of times, it's either there's a problem with the diagnosis. There have been people who have a strange type of sickle cell called S thalassemia or S beta thal. Most of these people were diagnosed as SF.
Okay.
Until then he tells me, oh, so when I went for a conference in London, then they did it again. They said I have S beta thal. Meanwhile, growing up till I was 30, I knew I was SF. So I'm just saying it because, and it's not once, these SF individuals have ended up being S. Sometimes there's another type of hemoglobin called a D. So SD. Okay. And you see that the technique being used may miss a D. And SD person would his whole life say I was AS, because the D probably is being seen as an A on the test. Till one day he goes somewhere and a more robust test is done and they say you are SD. Hey, now we're suffering. So these are some of the stories. When the diagnosis is missed, you may be characterized as SS. Till one day you get to know that you were actually SF or AS. So it's not that it transformed, it's just that there was a misdiagnosis.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. We'll go on to the next question. This one says, hi, Mama Rita. I am Benes, reaching you from Tema. Thank you so much for bringing me an eye-opening message each and every time. God bless you.
Thank
for
you.
me, and as usual, you're looking splendid.
Thank you.
From Sierra Leone, David, Freetown, he says, please, can the doctor in the studio explain what will happen to both partners having the same blood group, example, blood group O+, in terms of pregnancy? Thanks in advance.
So, I mean, there's no problem.
Yeah.
We said the only problem was that one scenario I gave you. A negative woman of any type, a positive man of any type.
Yeah. And I hear the negatives are the percentage-wise is very small.
Yeah, so that's the problem. So ideally, a negative woman would have preferred to have a negative man.
Okay.
So we don't even have to calculate any risk. But of the men here, if you close your eyes, maybe only one will be negative. That one person knows, you know. So it's a very minority group.
Okay.
So you're so don't say you are only waiting for a negative man. Yes, I bet you. So
I like that.
you take the positive man like that,
I like
and then
that.
we see how we can help so that together we manage. Yes.
All right.
So, my darling, if you're a negative woman, please don't wait and say you are looking for a negative man by all means. The percentage of negative men we have, my darling, I hear is about 1% or 0.0 something
And
percent.
even half of that is in India.
Even half of that is in India. So the possibility of getting to India to see the other half, my darling. So go in for a positive if you get. We'll add prayer and then we'll leave the rest for the doctors.
All right, this one says, good evening to my panelists.
Good evening.
My name is Joseph. What will you advise if, well, he says, I am asking this lady I've met, whom we plan to marry in future, to go for hemoglobin checkup, and she's not willing to go. Mama Rita, what should I do?
My darling, then you need to come to Royal House Chapel. Because Royal House Chapel, before we start the counseling, it's very, very important for us. It's very important for us that we know your blood group, we know your sickle cell, we know whether you have hepatitis B or C or A, whether you have HIV. It is so important for us. We need to know. Any lady listening to me, my darling, now with technology and now with what's the English word? Knowledge. It's good to know it. Now you are hearing it from Dr. Kumi and Mrs. Dagbe, that you need to know it. You need to have a pre-informed or take a pre-informed decision. You need to know it before you get pregnant. You need to know whether you are negative or you are positive. It helps you. As a young girl, you need to know whether you are negative or you are positive before you even go in to have that abortion. Otherwise, it might affect you in future. So I think that your gentleman, if you are listening to me, your gentleman is right. Please go in for the test and know where you stand. If you know it already, let him know. There's nothing wrong with it. In case he is AS and then you are also AS, we will counsel you and then tell you what to do according to your age. You heard Dr. Kumi very well. If you're also a negative in terms of your blood group, at least when you are going to get married, it's not a death sentence, my darling. If you go and it's a negative, it's not a death sentence. Now with technology, something could be done by all means about it.
All right, this one says, thank you, Mommy. You are doing a great job.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Thank you.
And she says, to be sincere, crisis of sickle cell is very unbearable. I have grown to believe that it is devilish, her words, and the only cure is submission to the Lord Jesus Christ. And then she gives a testimony. I used to have crisis almost every month, sometimes twice in a month, until I met Jesus. But now I am healed and free. But I would be...
So she doesn't have the crisis as much as she used to.
She used to, exactly. But I would want the doctor to speak a little on Hydroxyurea.
Please,
Doctor, over to you.
Stay at the concoction level.
Concoction level. Herbalist.
Herbalist.
What do you want to talk about?
Please.
No, take it.
All right. So, as I was saying, the move to reduce the disease burden of sickle cell, one of them is testing early.
Okay.
Universal testing of all newborn babies, so that we can pick it early, and then the complications, as she mentioned, wouldn't happen in young children. Because at that tender age, you can imagine the trauma. I've seen a young boy with stroke from sickle cell, and that was quite, and not just stroke on one side, both sides. So he's paralyzed totally. stiffened up, and it was a very difficult situation. But if it was seen early, so that is where hydroxyurea comes in. It's doing quite well.
What is it?
It's a medication.
Okay.
It has been there for a while, but it looks like now it is being championed, and it's been made very available to even not so rich countries like Ghana. All right, I think there's a global move to fund its supply so that it becomes universally available. So in Kolebu now, most young, and it's for people whose sickle cell seem to be a bit problematic. You know, some people are thriving, they don't need to do much to feel okay, but others keep on getting repeated crisis. And so they are put on hydroxyurea, and it tends to give them less crisis so that they can live a very comfortable life. If a sickle cell patient doesn't have repeated crisis, they can live a normal life like everybody. So your aim is that they don't get a crisis. Or if they do, you catch it early and then treat it. So it's a medication, and it's quite good. All right.
Thank you very much, Doc. We have Kojo from Takrade. Hello, Kojo.
Hello, Kojo.
Hello, good evening, Mama Rita.
Good evening.
Thank you for this topic. My question is, I am a would-be husband-to-be, and I am O positive, and the wife-to-be is O negative, and she's already sensitized, and our genotype is AA. We are both AA. So my problem is, before I marry her, should she go and see a gynecologist, or she has to take? I've heard also about Rogam shots. I'm confused now, and the doctor can explain a little bit for me. I'm even shaking as I'm talking to you because it's the O negative thing. I don't know.
So,
she already sensitized, and she didn't get any injection.
Okay.
So for now, what she should do?
Okay, Dr. Kumi.
So I would just want to once again say there's no need for you to be anxious. There's already a lot of anxiety from coronavirus. Don't add this
I like that
to your problems. You see, we've said that when it comes to blood group, we don't have any criteria of saying you can't be together or it's not safe, because as he mentioned, the drug is called Rogam.
Okay.
So the drug I am referring to is called Rogam.
Okay.
And he has just mentioned that. So it's available. And so if you get your doctor to be aware that I'm pregnant, this is the scenario, he will tell you what the timelines are. Just have to make sure that, unfortunately, some of the doctors don't explain that it's not only at, say, 34 weeks that you need the Rogam, but if you have some significant bleeding, you have to come earlier for it. Okay. So some doctors fail to give such. So if you get your doctor to be aware, he will take you through what are the events that will require an earlier shot. Okay. So all those things will be discussed with you. Okay. So you don't need to do any prior gynecological assessment for anything. It wouldn't yield anything. Okay. Just go into it if you are sure this is the partner you want, and you are aware of what could happen, and you think it's a calculated risk. So if you think the benefit of the woman you are getting outweighs, and especially when that risk can be remedied, it's not a big problem. All right.
So, like I said earlier on, being negative is not a death sentence. Please, don't worry yourself about it. Leave it for the doctors. The only thing is that when you get married and you realize that your wife is pregnant, just go and see a gynecologist, or you just see your doctor immediately. Let the doctor know your wife is negative, and then they will tell you what to do. But until then, my darling, relax. Relax. What we are even talking about might not even affect you. We are only telling you to have a pre-informed. I mean, you should know it and know what to do. Unfortunately, a lot of people do not know. So when they are pregnant, they don't even go to the hospital early. They tell themselves they are waiting. When I'm 3 months, when I'm 4 months, when I'm 6 months, before I go and see a doctor. So all we are saying is that when you realize that your wife has missed her period, let her go to the hospital and you don't have a problem.
Well, Mommy will take one last comment, given that time is doing social distancing with us.
Wow, I didn't even believe that time had, wow, we have 5 minutes more.
Just 5
I
minutes.
can't believe it. It tells you how well you have done, the two of you. Wow.
And we have a lot of positive comments going to you and your panelists from Sierra Leone, Cameroon, the Gambia, and across Ghana. Well, whilst we take the last comment, I would want to remind you, next week about this time, from the 4th of August, World Movers Generation is bringing your way the Movers and Shakers Conference, the virtual edition. If I have some movers in the house and in the house, hey, inside here and in the house, I'm too excited. When I say World Movers Generation, you tell us we are moving our world. World Movers Generation,
we are moving our world.
Come 2020, I can see the star. It's happening from the 4th to the 9th of August, next Tuesday, and Mama Rita is on. The Apostle General himself is on. We also have the Apostle of the North American Missions, Reverend Emmanuel Agomedatete, also on. It's going to be exciting. 6 p.m. each night. You want to keep it logged on Powerline TV, on Sam Crunchy Ankara Facebook, and also on YouTube. Please, it's been educative, it's been exciting. We've reached several thousands of people and millions across on various digital boxes. If you want to be a partner to this program, you want to call our line and we will have some discussion with you and then you can be on. Mommy, this last one says, wow, I am being educated this evening. It's just been a year now I graduated from secondary school. You've revived me. Marriage now is not about I love you only, but instead finding blood group, resource factor, sex-like characters, I don't remember that one, of the opposite sex for a happy life.
So Mrs. Dagbe and Dr. Kumi, you will give us your final words and then we'll bring it to a close. So Mrs. Dagbe first.
Okay, thank you once again, Mommy. AS is already a red flag. I think Mommy should add it to the red flags.
My red flags, I like that.
But if it happens that you still came together as couples and there's a child in the family, the child is a blessing from God. Most times you see most of the men running away, leaving the child for only the woman to handle.
Wow.
Which is heartbreaking. So it has happened. The men, most of the men that run away, my word to them is to try and stay and support each other. With oneness, you can defeat it. The child might be SS. The next one, the chances of being AA or AS, it's high. So you have a healthy child and you enjoy your marriage. But if you still have a child that is SS, you can prevent crisis just by keeping the child warm, reducing infection in the child, restraining the child a little from certain activities because they are very active, but they can't do everything. So with putting all these measures into place, you can still have a healthy child and you will reduce your hospitalization.
Dr. Kumi.
All right, so my last comment is an appeal to all of us. Sickle cell is huge in Ghana and in Africa. The quality of life is what matters. It's not a death sentence. Our aim for this gathering is to try and reduce the likelihood of giving birth to more sickle cell children. But if someone is already sickle cell, the problem with sickle cell in Ghana is neglect. There are a lot of doctors with sickle cell. There are a lot of lawyers with sickle cell. prominent people that we can't mention, whom you see every day with sickle cell. And a lot of them are going into their 90s and 80s, and they are doing fine. So it's basically a disease that is suffering because of inequality. They are people who are suffering are because they are poor. All right. So I would urge all of us to, one, avoid stigmatization, and two, we hope that these people get the best care in our own little way. Now we are in the rains. The rains will come with a lot of crisis. The harmattan. So those are the two seasons where they suffer a lot. And an act of kindness and some care may be all that they need to thrive.
Wow! I can't believe we have been here for 2 hours. It's been so informative, so educative, and I hope you made notes and you'll be referring to your notes. I want to say a very big thank you to Dr. Kumi and Mrs. Dagbe. Without you, the program wouldn't have been a success. Thank you so much. Their telephone numbers and then their emails came on the screen. I hope you were smart enough to have written it. If you had other questions, private questions, personal questions you couldn't ask, you can call them or send them emails and then you will be answered. Make a date with me, same time, same day next week. But on Saturday, I will come your way, Mama Rita at IG. We are discussing. You want to get married. All you are thinking about is your gown, your shoes, your veil, your suit, and the buffet, the flower girls. Have you started planning for your home?
Come on, that's one.
Have you started planning for your home? We'll be talking about what to start buying for your home. How do you get your home ready? And next week, last week, I promised you we're going to do friendship in the marriage or building your friendship whilst you are courting. My darling, sometimes it is not the love that will take you 34 years and beyond. It is not love that will take you 60 years and beyond. It is friendship. We want to talk about building your friendship. Building your friendship. And next week, hey! WMG! I can't wait myself. When I attend Royal Ladies Camp meetings, they make me feel old. But when I attend WMG camp meetings, it makes me feel like a teenager. If you want to feel young, if you want to be young, please make a date with us next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with Mama Rita, with Reverend Emmanuel Agomeda, our apostle of North America, and with the Apostle General himself. It's going to be heaven on earth. Until then, please take good care of yourself. God bless you, and I love you.
The biggest Christian youth festival is coming to you at the comfort of your homes. Yes, it is the Movers and Shakers Conference 2020, the virtual edition. It is happening from the 4th to the 9th of August with the theme, I Can See the Star. The program lineup is as follows. Tuesday, 4th August, 7 p.m., Hula Land. Wednesday, 5th August, 7 p.m., Family Life with Mama Rita. Thursday, 6th August, Prophetic Service with Reverend Emmanuel Agomeda. Friday, 7th August, 7 p.m., Miracle Service Service with the Apostle General, Saturday 8th August, 7 p.m. on Worship and Motivation Night, and Sunday 9th August, 9 a.m. WMG Celebration Service. Join us on Facebook at Sam Crunchy Ankara, on YouTube at Powerline TV, and on your favorite Christian TV channel, Powerline TV. Don't miss this virtual experience of power, prayer, praise, presence, and the prophetic.
I don't like a God that cannot speak. And there was no voice, and there was no answer. Anything which is voiceless is dead. Anything that has no movement is motionless, is dead. And I am crying for you because you leave your house in Accra, Kumasi, somewhere, and go right into a deep forest. You are going to look for some power. Hey, who told you that God hides in the forest? I stand in the city of Accra, Obechabilamte Sickle, and I stand on a potent altar. Wherever they have sent your name to the forest, I remove your name and I cancel your name. Clap your hands and shout yes. Yes. If you serve a God who does not speak, how do you know that the person you are going to marry is the right person if God doesn't speak? If God doesn't speak, how would you know that the business partner you are working with is an evil person? How would you know?